Welcome to Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel. I'm Joey, sitting up here in the Caribou Mountains. Yeah, 3,953 feet in my chair of infinite meteorological knowledge. Yeah, it's going to get much warmer again. We're on that roly-poly thing I was talking about in the last forecast video, where the jet stream goes up and down, and we're getting kind of the north weather, then we get the south weather, then we get the north weather. We're about to get the south weather again, into the 20s, into southern BC, probably even into the Caribou. Going to be really nice for a couple days before it stops, it gets back to blah again, but hey, it was probably nice in most places in the interior today, mostly not here in Wells. Definitely wasn't nice in southern Ontario, where I suggested there would be some very strong and dangerous thunderstorms today. That manifested. The line came through the Toronto area shortly before the disastrous hockey game time. Oh boy, it was rough. Leafs giving up shorthanded goals, losing 4-0 on home ice, fans leaving early. Tough. Yeah. You don't deserve to win playing like that. Maybe they got 2 more chances, but yeah, that's tough to take. Oh, anyways, so what was I saying? Storms moved out in time for game time. Went across into eastern Ontario just like a rocket right towards my mom's place there. She said it was brief. And then they moved to eastern Ontario super fast. So that's what was going on there today. Anyways, let's get on with the let's go. There it is. This is bad news.
My God. Falling out right now. Anything can happen. Get on!
Wow. I'll watch the video later. Hey, try mopping this. Hit like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, sorry I've been behind making forecast videos or anything like that. I've been very busy the last couple days. Hit like, share, subscribe. Did I say that? I don't know. I'm so tired. So here's the forecast probabilities for the next 28 days as of yesterday, and where they expect it to be quite warm. Looking at the actual forecast, I'm not seeing this for BC entirely yet. Yeah, we have some pretty warm spells. There's like a weird warm patch off the ocean there, which is interesting. They're predicting, certainly for the prairies, I could see that. We're looking at above the average. What does it say? The forecasted anomaly is produced from the average conditions forecasted over that period by the Global Ensemble Prediction System, a 20-year climatology 1995 to 2014 of this prediction system obtained a reforecast is also used in the computation of the forecast anomaly. So what's the percentage of probability that it will be above what we consider average temperatures in southern BC coming into May? They're saying 100% chance that we're going to see higher than what would be our usual standard temperatures here. So let's talk about the jet stream then, shall we? That's that height in the air above you, 15,000 to 20,000 feet, generally kind of moves around there. That's where this sort of channel of very fast winds is progressively moving, in our case, east to west here in the north. So as you can see, we have a really roly-poly jet stream where for a couple days it gets nice and warm in Western Canada, and then it dips back down with some of that crappy weather again. In the process, it does feed moisture and cool air into continental parts of the United States, while warmer, moister air is coming up there from the Gulf of Mexico and making for some very strong thunderstorm outbreaks on repeat. That is seeming to continue. Here in British Columbia, if you look, well, here we got that nice ridging, and we get that really nice warm weather for a couple days, and then we see a trough set in, and we get a next storm, and it stays kind of gross for a few days and doesn't do too much. So that's why I say they're talking about us being well above average, 100% chance that we're above our average temperatures into May, and that may be so, but in the next week to 2 weeks, I'm not seeing that necessarily exactly. So that's what we're trying to take from this, that when it remains to be seen that BC stays in the heat. We know we're going to keep getting some if this pattern continues like so, but if the jet stream is wonky, up and down, and we're on the north side at one point and the south side of the other, we're going to have that difference between cold and hot weather, damp and dreary weather, preceded by a warm ridging like that allows warm temperatures, warm air to cycle on up and then Pacific storm, the upper level low pattern that we've been seeing and talking about here in the channel for a while. This sort of upper level disturbance that just keeps reinstalling itself there in the Gulf of Alaska and feeding gross weather into BC. And there's something kind of like it on the East Coast side that's been going on too. I know my friend Craig I grew up with has been working up in Baffin Island, and they've been seeing some pretty nasty weather at times up there still. And the measure of like a lot of snow falling, because at this time of year, there's a lot of warm air making its way far to the north, but there's still this Arctic air mass up there, although it's weaker and colder, weaker and not as cold as it was in the winter, I should say, weaker and warmer. What happens is the warm air that can bring moisture up there, it allows for more snow and more blizzards sometimes in far northern places at this time of year than they would see typically in the drier winter when they're just settled into that cold Arctic air mass that keeps them in perpetual extreme freezing. Anyways, let's move on. Okay, what does it mean for BC on the short range Canadian model we have here? Coming into Wednesday, boom, nice temperatures, 16, 19s, 20s. That's what they're thinking. Thursday is going to be even nicer. You can see the cooler air in the mountains is shrinking, probably maybe hit freezing on Wednesday night here in Wells, but maybe not. 21, 20, 20, 21 on Thursday, 23 maybe even in the South Caribou, 23 down in looks like South Central. I'd like to say that's Vernon area maybe. You know, it's not exactly specific on here. You got to kind of infer where these places are, but we'll look at some other maps here in a minute that are more specific, of course. And then Saturday, we start to see the trend level off, although the southern part of BC will see its warmest weather. They think what we are going to see in this model will end here is gross ocean weather coming at us again into the later part of the weekend. 4 o'clock Wednesday afternoon, talking some 20s in southern BC, Vernon probably, Salmon Arm, Kamloops, 100 Mile, and Williams Lake more, getting into the mid to high teens, Lillooet looking like 20s, and it's only going to get warmer from here on out as we get into the model. As you can see, the cool air that we expect to see in the mountains is more or less resigned itself to the higher areas at this point. We're seeing that warmer air rebounding all the way up into further north overnight into Thursday morning. You may still see freezing if you're north of Tacloa Landing, for example. So this model is going to end here, and we're going to take it up with the ECMWF. But already at 10 a.m., they're thinking 20 degrees in Kamloops. That's crazy. We'll see about that, but 20 into Fort St. John, 22, Grand Prairie, Williams Lake hitting 23 on afternoon, Kamloops up to 25 probably, so that's some pretty nice weather. And it's only going to get nicer for them as the warm air we get to share with those to the east of us. Look at Friday already. Still nice and warm. 6 degrees in Prince George at early morning dawn hours. Look at this warm day coming to Western Canada. Okay, what do we got? Even into Saskatchewan now. That warmth is picking up. 21 in Grand Prairie. We better stop here in a second and see what we got. We'll stop at 1,500. What do we got here at 1,500 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon? All into the 20s on the other side of the Rockies, first of all. Fort St. John up to 25. That's crazy. That's as warm as Medicine Hat way down there. Lethbridge sitting around 26 at that time. That's warmer than most places up there in the Peace side. So that's pretty wild for you. Look forward to a really nice day on Friday for you guys. 26 in Kamloops, 25 in Kelowna. That's cool. We'll just zoom in a little more now. 21 in Nakusp, 23 down in Cranbrook. How about that? 22 in Trail, so that looks nice for you. 25s in Osoyoos, really nice day for you on Friday. Look forward to that. 23 in the Caribou. Williams Lake and Quesnel sitting nice. Nasco sitting nice. Prince George above 20. Vanderhoof above 20. Bear Lake above 20. Even Mackenzie getting to 20. It's not till you get closer to the coastal side you start seeing those temperatures drop down quite quickly. And that's in the middle of the afternoon on Friday. And Kitsalt's at 3 degrees. Stewart at 3 degrees. So that's pretty wild. Fowler at 1. Petersburg at 6. So that's a little hint of what's coming here for you, right? You know, prepare yourself for the fact that it's not going to stay all that nice for very long. I'm not seeing thunderstorms yet. I don't think coming for this weekend in any modeling. But you know how BC is, so let's, wait a couple days here and see what goes on and what things are looking like to the weekend when this crappier weather starts to move in. We better just click over here and wait. Wait a second, Joey, what's that? Friday evening now, we're seeing a lot of precip up and down the coast, right? And that upper level low established there, not really doing much, just sitting there, not really allowed to go anywhere. The big tall mountains are sort of blocking it and keeping it angry as there's cool air up there to kind of work with. Well, it's sucking some warm air up and feeding off that too. And there we are, Saturday morning, seeing a little bit of snow in the higher elevations. Seeing rainy snow mixes probably here where I am. Mostly rain band down through towards Kamloops. Beneficial rain, that's nice. Definitely gonna spoil your weekend plans probably. So the models have some disagreement about this. It seems I would bank on the cold air returning. Most likely, that's what I would bank on. So, but I don't know. The Canadian models seem to think that it's going to be still warm on Saturday. So, remains to be seen. That remains to be seen. And now we got that repeat again for the Alberta side, where we got a little bit of snow in the Rockies and in the foothills and whatnot, and making its way southward on down. And then we see a little bit of a rebound shortly after that. So one model sort of showing that maybe this comes more Sunday, one model showing a little earlier than that, right? So, wow, it's thunderstorm central everywhere down south these days. It's crazy. I wish I was able to report on thunderstorms in BC because that's my favorite thing to talk about. Look at this upper level low up there. Wham, that's actually a pretty big low. That's like a mid-latitude cyclone already now. And again, it's pulling moisture all the way down from Hawaii. So that's more or less your atmospheric river just slamming in up there into those coastal areas of Alaska. And we get kind of the break from that. Monday, are we looking a little warmer on Monday as that's happening in BC? Well, some, yeah, rebounding a little bit. Vernon into 15, Williams Lake to 13, Quesnel in the afternoon. But, it's not sticking around. It's not sticking around much. It's probably going to be getting cloudier overhead at this time, and we're not going to see the next sort of round of this beneficial weather. Like, yeah, that qualifies probably as another atmospheric river. Is it some dangerous, nasty thing? No, and that's why I kind of want to keep using that term right now, just to sort of paint that picture for you, that this is a more or less a weak AR signal. Yeah, category 1 or 2 or whatever the professionals will call it. That's generally what we consider beneficial. It's good. We want that. It's a coastal rainforest area. We want that pattern to settle in as often as we can, I suppose, right? The trees need it. The ground needs it. Everything needs it. Tuesday, 18 in Vernon, 14 Williams Lake. So as you can see, roly-poly. 22 in Vernon late afternoon. Okay, roly-poly though. We're not sticking with a great deal of very warm weather for very long at a time. And then we, like I say, these disturbances off the coast just keep feeding. Look what I'm doing. Just keep feeding more and more of this garbage at us. So if there's any good news, it means hey, we got a couple of warm days where things could dry out again, but we've seen the green up coming now, right? So we're starting to get past that spring dip part of the fire season and starting to see our green up happen. And if we keep getting rain coming as we are, that green up is going to suppress fire conditions a little bit. We'll see things bloom and grow. Maybe though that could create too much fuel later on in the year, but I don't know. It's pretty normal to see this sort of stuff in through June in BC, and I think that's what's probably people want to see as well, so that we don't have everything on fire coming too early in the year. I don't see that really happening right now. But again, those long range models are saying the next 28 days we're going to see above average temperatures in BC. I'm not really seeing it yet in the forecast modeling, but hey, let's get through the next couple of days and we'll see. I'll be back and again maybe tomorrow with some more talk on the subject. We'll check in probably and see how warm it's been. I'm very tired. I got a lot of things to do, so I'm going to get going. A lot of people are trying to talk to me, and I'm so tired, and there's so many messages. I'm trying my best, everybody, but thought I'd fire off a forecast as much as I could for you. Hit like, share, subscribe. We'll talk to you soon. Ciao now.